We're now going to look at Find Invoice. This can be found in the Customer module under Invoice and option 221, Find Invoice. When we go to Find Invoice, this will give us a list of all the invoices that have been generated. The most recent invoice will be at the top of the screen. In here we can obviously see the invoice number, the customer code, the name, we can see the date of the invoice, we've got the customer PO number, and we've also got the sales order number. We can see the total value of the invoice, the currency, whether it's been posted, whether it's hit the customer ledger, and whether it's been printed. If an invoice has been posted, it cannot be changed. If an invoice has been posted, you will need to credit it and then go through the process again of either just doing an invoice or doing a sales order and converting it to an invoice. In the new invoice screen, we saw the option we just did save and close. If you have generated an invoice and it's the wrong one, and for whatever reason you need to cancel that, as long as we've done save and close, it's not posted to the customer ledger, we can cancel it. Once you have done save and post, or you've done the post invoices through the posting invoicing routine, then you cannot amend it. You cannot void it. You have to credit it. So in here we can see sales order number 5006. If we just go back to find order a moment, we can see there's no open sales orders. Sales order 5006 is in the sales order history. If we void this invoice because we've confirmed the wrong one, there is a void button up the top of the invoice screen here. If we click void and say yes, what that will do, if we close that window, back in the open sales orders, if we refresh that list, we can see here sales order 5006 is back open and it's at the stage of ready to invoice. So if you needed to invoice that separately again, you could. If we go back to the Find Invoice screen, option 221, we can see invoice number 5001, 2, 3, 4 and 6. Invoice number 5 has disappeared. They don't disappear completely. We can see a tab up here for voided invoices, and that will always keep a track of them. We don't delete them. We can't delete them out of this screen. It just keeps a track of the ones that are voided. There is also a separate tab just for unposted invoices. So as you start to build this screen up, there'll be a lot of transactions in here. You can see as default down the bottom here, it's going to show you the most recent 1000 invoices. If out of those there's only 3 or 4 of them that haven't been posted, then sometimes it's easier to look in the unposted invoices tab just for the ones that haven't been finalised yet. When you are in a particular invoice, and again from this unposted invoices tab you can double click and drill into the invoice. There is a save and post option if you are doing one invoice at a time and you want to post it there and then. Again, I would usually recommend you always do save and close. If you do save and post, you know full well there's going to be something that you wanted to change on that. At least if you've done save and close, it gives you the opportunity to go back in and amend it. You can do save and post from here if you wish. I will just show you that option now. So in here, if we do save and post, we can see we get a bubble message. It says a back order was created. So back order number 5000-1. The reason it's given it 5000-1 is because the original sales order number was 5000. So instead of it having SO-5000, it's now BKO-5000-1 because it is the first back order from that particular sales order. If we now did another dispatch and we only shipped 3 of these, then again when we post the invoice it would then create back order 5000-2 and it would keep going. So if you had back order -10, that would mean that order has been shipped in 10 different deliveries. Right, okay that. What we can also see, once we've done save and post, we can see the view journal button is available and all of the save options and everything is greyed out, so we can no longer change anything on this invoice. If we click view journal, what we can see is the £2,088 down here, in the debtors control account, that's hit. We've then got the £25 going to carriage. We've then got the sales VAT, so we can see the 20% for the carriage, and then we've got the breakdown from our individual lines. We've then got the sales hitting the P&L, and we've then got the cost of sales reducing the P&L, so it's taken it out. So we can see here for the handgun, we had £72.50 hitting the sales, and £50.31 hitting the cost of goods, because there was 5 at £10 and 6p as a cost price, and we've sold 5 at £14.50. We can then see the other side of this cost of goods sold section is it then reducing the stock on the balance sheet. I'm just going to close that, and I'm just going to close that invoice. If we come back to the invoice history tab, so what we can see here now against this particular invoice, we can see it's got a tick box to say it's posted. What we can also see from that one now, if I just scroll down slightly, so we can see there's 2 invoices for a toy customer UK. 2088 invoice number 5006 has been posted, but invoice number 5003 for the 13,000 hasn't been posted yet. It hasn't hit the customer's ledger. So if we just use our customer detail button here to quickly go to the customer account, we can see the invoice number in this recent history screen here, but I don't recommend you use that to look at transactions on the customer account. If we go to the transactions tab and we go to the ledger, we can see here invoice 5006 is on, it's posted, it's now making up the balance that the customer owes on that account. If we go to orders, we can see back order 5001 is there as an open order. If we change the orders to all, we can see 5000, 5001. So these are the orders, they're now completed. The invoice doesn't show on the ledger tab or the invoices tab just yet because it isn't posted. The invoice has been generated and not posted. So if you see something in this recent history tab, but you don't see it in here, then it is possibly because you've either avoided it or it hasn't been posted yet. So this is why I would recommend using the transactions and the ledger tab. If we just go and look at another invoice a second, you can see in here on the invoice, we can't delete any line items. If I right click, you can't delete them. The only thing you can do is change the ship quantity down to 0. It can create a back order, and then you can void the back order. If you were changing something on here to reduce it down to 0 and you didn't want it to create the back order, then just on this one occasion, you could untick allow back order before it's posted, and then again, it won't generate the back order. I'm just going to close that now because we're done with that. The rest of the invoices, I will show you how to post them through a separate video for post invoice.